Hey everyone, and welcome. So, today we're going to dive into a really powerful idea, something that goes way beyond the starting line of the Christian faith. A lot of people think the main goal is just to get saved, right? To get your ticket to heaven punched. But what if I told you that's just the beginning? That salvation is the starting line for a much bigger, way more active journey. Let's explore what it truly means to inherit your kingdom.
I think this is a really common way to think about it, isn't it? That God's kingdom, with all its glory and rewards, is something purely in the future, something waiting for us way on the other side. But, if we actually look closely at what we're taught to pray for, a totally different picture starts to take shape. This one line, it changes everything. It's not a wish, it's a mission statement. It's a clear command that God's kingdom, his way of doing things, his justice, his blessings, isn't supposed to stay locked up in heaven. It's meant to break into our world, right here, right now. And here's the kicker. We're the ones who are called to be active partners in making that a reality on Earth.
Okay, so how in the world do we do that? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in how we see ourselves. Because who you believe you are, deep down, dictates everything about how you live. To see just how powerful this is, let's look at a pretty fascinating real-world example of someone whose entire life was shaped by her identity from day one.
And, this isn't just some nice-sounding phrase. It's a universal law. When you truly get it, when you grasp that you are a citizen of heaven, it completely rewires your values, your priorities, your whole way of life. It's not just a title you hold. It's a new reality that demands a completely new lifestyle. I mean, just look at the sheer intensity of this preparation. While other kids are learning to ride a bike, Princess Lanor was being molded into a future monarch. Why? It's simple. Her identity was never in question. She knew she was born to inherit a kingdom, and that massive, massive responsibility meant she had to sacrifice a normal childhood to get ready for her destiny. Her identity literally determined her life. For us to live out our new identity as citizens of heaven, we also have to go through a pretty profound internal transformation. We're talking about a fundamental shift in our core motivation, moving from the heart of a slave to the heart of a son or a daughter. This verse just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows us the two opposing forces. The spirit of a slave is always operating out of fear of messing up, fear of not being good enough, fear of punishment. But the spirit of a son or a daughter, that operates from a place of love, security, and a deep sense of belonging.
Just take a second and look at these two columns. Be honest with yourself. Which one feels a little more familiar? The orphan heart is on a treadmill, constantly trying to earn its value, always anxious about its performance. Fear is its fuel. The son's heart, on the other hand, is at rest in its identity. It's motivated by love and a deep desire to honor the father, not by a crippling fear of being rejected. This shift, from orphan to son, is the absolute foundation for living a life focused on the kingdom.
So once we start to embrace this new identity, how do we actually live it out day to day? Because it definitely doesn't happen by accident. Just like any serious training, it requires discipline. And that brings us to 3 core practices, 3 disciplines for cultivating this new life. These are the 3 pillars, the 3 game changers for kingdom-focused life: unity, holiness, and hope. But listen, these aren't passive states of being. They are active, daily choices. They are practices that shape us into the kind of people who can actually inherit the kingdom. All right, first up, unity. Let's just get this out of the way. The idea of a solo Christian, a lone wolf on this journey, it's completely foreign to this new life. We were made for community. The fact that Paul hammers the phrase one another over and over again, more than 60 times, tells you this is absolutely non-negotiable. We're meant to do this together.
So what does this unity look like in real life? Well, we're told to bear the weaknesses of others. And the original meaning of the word bear here is so powerful. It doesn't just mean put up with their flaws. It means to actively lift people up, to carry them, to endure with them. It's a commitment so deep, it's like taking on their struggle as a cross you're willing to carry. Okay, the second practice is pursuing holiness. And I know that word can sound pretty intimidating, right? But at its core, holiness is really just about having a different set of values. It's about a complete recalibration of what you treasure the most. I mean, this has to be one of the most radical statements about value you'll ever read. Paul, a guy who had it all, status, education, a perfect religious resume, says that compared to knowing Christ, all of his worldly achievements are Garbage. That's the value shift of holiness, seeing the world's shiniest prizes as worthless next to the ultimate prize. And finally, our third practice is holding on to hope. And we're not talking about wishful thinking here. This isn't the fingers crossed kind of hope. In this context, hope is a discipline. It's an active, determined choice to keep pressing forward, to focus on the future goal, no matter how you feel or what's going on around you.
So how do we actually practice hope? First, we have to actively forget what is behind. That means we refuse to let past wounds or failures hold us back. But it also means we don't get lazy by resting on our past victories. Second, we strain toward what is ahead, keeping our eyes locked on that finish line. And finally, we choose joy. We have to understand that joy isn't just a fleeting emotion. It's a strategic weapon that fuels our endurance for the long haul.
So this brings us to the ultimate goal. All of this training, this new identity, these daily practices of unity, holiness, and hope, it's all for a reason. It's about running a race, and not just to finish, but to win a prize that is actually distinct from the free gift of salvation.
And this distinction is absolutely crucial to understand. The promised kingdom is our starting point. It's the free gift of salvation, a guaranteed place in God's family that we receive by grace. But the inherited kingdom, that's the prize at the finish line. That's the reward for those who endure, who persevere, who actively live out their heavenly citizenship. That's what we are running for.
So what does this race, this journey of perseverance, really feel like? Well, to really get it, I want you to think of a marathon, a grueling 42-kilometer race that tests not just your body, but the absolute limits of your will to keep going. Every single marathon runner knows about and dreads this moment. It's called hitting the wall. It happens around the 30-kilometer mark. Your body's fuel is gone. Every muscle is screaming in agony, and your mind is just flooded with one single overwhelming thought. I can't go on. I have to quit. It is the ultimate test of your will. In one runner's story, at this exact moment, the moment of wanting to give up completely, he saw an elderly spectator on the side of the road holding this simple sign. Those few words somehow cut through all the pain and all the doubt, and they reminded him of a strength that he had forgotten he even had. It was the one thing he needed to hear to push through that wall.
And that's it, isn't it? That's the whole lesson right there. This life, this race we're in, it's not about trying to avoid hardship. It's about learning how to endure it, how to find purpose inside the struggle, and how to develop the character you need to actually overcome it.
It's an incredible shift in perspective, right? When you finally cross that finish line and look back, you realize a profound truth. The hardest parts of the journey, those moments you were sure would break you, are the very things that forged you. Those obstacles become your most precious treasures, the source of your real strength and character. And so that leaves us with one final question to really think about. Salvation is the starting line. It's a free gift and it's amazing. But the full inheritance, the prize, the incredible honor of co-ruling in the kingdom, that is for those who run the race. So the question for you, for all of us, is this. Are you content just waiting at the start, or are you actively running to win?